we are so lucky that Coach Beth Torina makes time for us out of her very busy schedule as the incredible SEC grind continues. This weekend, LSU softball heading to Athens, Georgia, to take on the 13th-ranked Bulldogs. As we said earlier, you might as well get used to seeing a number next to the opponent every single time this year with how incredible this conference is. Coach Torina, what's going on? How we feeling here on this Thursday?
Man, I'd be feeling better if I had some Girl Scout cookies.
Thank you.
Okay. Well,
Imagine
maybe you should have bought some
I did.
from my daughter, Coach. You know,
did.
Where were you? Huh? Poor little Alice. She was crying to me a couple nights ago saying, I wish Coach Torina would have bought tag-alongs. I said, I know, honey. Try to not let it devastate you. And I couldn't stop her for crying for 2 hours.
Coach, don't believe that
happy.
because if you do, purchase them from who he said you need to purchase them from, you're still not going to get them.
Relax. A lot of people are still getting their cookies. I have so many stupid cookie boxes in my house right now. Anyway. Tori Edwards, she deserves Girl Scout cookies, okay? How about that? After the week that Tori Edwards just had, SEC Freshman of the Week, hit 462 last week in 4 games, 9 ribbies. She's 4th in the country at ribbies. She's top 4 in the SEC with 11 home runs already, slugging out of control. Coach, are you at all surprised by what you're seeing the freshmen do this year?
I think you're always a little surprised when it's a freshman, but if you were around her in practice and you saw the balls she hits like off the building and over the berm, then you wouldn't be as surprised. She's an incredible athlete. She's super intelligent about how she goes about her work and had a big week this week. Freshman of the Week named on her birthday. What a week.
Oh, it's her birthday. I didn't even know that. Happy birthday, Tori. Hell yeah, that's got to feel great.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you guys, I thought we could have swept the awards this week. I thought Macy Bergeron could have earned the hitter of the week with her incredible 3-home run weekend. I thought Sid Berzon got all 3 wins. This is the second time she's gotten all 3 wins and not gotten SEC pitcher of the week in her career, by the way. But I'm not bitter.
Hell yeah, talk your ish, Coach. Stump for your team. And you mentioned all these names, and I mentioned Danica Coffey, who's batting .541 and may be like the best softball player in the entire country.
Well, I hope she is because she deserves every bit of that. She's been working so hard and just does a lot of things and all the things the right way. So she's an incredible softball player, and she's been such a good leader for our team.
Coach, one of the things that we talk about the pitching, we talk about the home runs and the lineup, but one of the things that we haven't really got into with you yet is your team is top 10 in the country in fielding percentage as well. Was that something that coming into the season you felt like was going to be part of what made y'all who y'all are to this point?
I really had a lot of question marks in the defense. I wasn't exactly sure who we would be. Our mainstays, right? And 2 of our main positions are transfers with Avery Hodge and Jayla Lassiter. So I think you don't know exactly what you're going to get from them. We had a firsthand look, unfortunately, at Jayla Lassiter playing at Ole Miss against us.
Yeah.
Lucky she's on our team. I still had PTSD calling pitches against her in scrimmages this spring, So every time she gets a hit, I'm glad it's in purple and gold. But I think there were a lot of question marks, but they've really just lived up to all the hype, and they've just done their job so well.
Well, and you mentioned hype, Coach, and it's getting harder and harder to ignore the hype around this LSU softball team. And guys, as always, if you've never been out to Tiger Park, it is one of the best vibes in the entire city. On the road this week, we go ahead and look at the schedule. Plan a trip to the berm. You, the family, you're going to have a great time, and you're going to watch a great team. I mean, as I said, moving up to number 3 in one poll, 4 in another. How do you keep your team? What's the process to keeping your team focused and not starting maybe to read their own press clippings?
Were you in the dugout yesterday? Were you in the
No. So this is something of on topic here. This is something that y'all have discussed recently.
Yeah, I think the challenge is just to keep them working the way they've worked, like a chip on their shoulder mentality, trying to prove themselves. I think that's kind of the way they have to work the way they worked in the early part of this season. as they move forward. They've had some moments where it's been a little bit easy for them, right? But like they have to understand that what's in front of them is going to be really, really hard. I mean, incredibly hard. Like every game we have left for the most part is in the quad 1, like 1 through 25 in RPI, right? So, I mean, it's just incredible what we have left. So I think just them continuing to work the way they've worked is going to be a huge key to moving forward in this deal.
Coach, you mentioned maybe not knowing what you were going to get with the defense because you had transfers and different things, but what maybe was the one thing you didn't know that this team was going to be so good at? Because you look at the top stats in the NCAA and earn average and batting average and fielding percentage. I mean, you're at the top 10 and really top 5 in a lot of those categories.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's some things that stand out, like the outfield play has been incredible. Jaden Leno is an incredible outfielder, just covers so much ground. She's so tall, you don't even realize how much ground she covers. Sarah Daniels has been locked down at second. Tori Edwards has done a nice job at first. And I think probably the number that we like the best is just scoring, right? That's what Bryce and Sandra, Zach, they put a ton of emphasis on not hitting, not batting averages, not any of the things, just scoring runs. Like that's what wins ball games. So it's more of a team offensive concept. So the number we want to have lead the country in is scoring, right? Like score the most runs. Like so you can walk, get hit a single, don't care, just find a way to score.
I never thought I'd hear former pitcher Beth Torina say that, but
here we go. Like Wes Johnson over there at Georgia.
Yeah,
just got him hit and can't get him. How about this, Coach? So in football, I was raised with a golden rule that was one snapping clear, right? And the philosophy is obvious behind it. Doesn't matter what you did last play, good or bad. All that matters is the next play. Do you drill something similar into your team? Is it one pitching clear? Like how far down do you zoom in with how you teach your team to stay in the moment?
Yeah, it's definitely a next pitch, one pitch mentality. I think we talk a lot about that. Like what you're saying, as good as the next play, you're as good as your next at bat.
Yep.
And we talk a lot about, like, you don't know, like, if you're going to be called upon to get the game-winning hit, to throw the game-winning pitch, to make the game-winning play, like, you just have no idea. So it's just about whether you're on the bench or in the game, being ready for that moment, whenever it is.
All right, Coach, let's get a breakdown maybe of what to expect against the Georgia Bulldogs. You're going on the road. It is in Athens, number 13, like T-Bob said, in the country. No surprise there because, it's an SEC softball team. But what do they do really well? What do you have to make sure that your team gets done against the Bulldogs?
Well, they have two left-handers on the mound. So one transfer from Cal. We didn't face in the regional, but prepared pretty heavily for last year. So we have a little bit of an idea.
You prepared heavily?
Yeah, for real. Watched every pitch she's thrown since 8th grade. Just a little bit, a little light work.
She didn't have film. We were watching her Twitter post, Looks like a curve, lady. Here we go. But we have two left-handers that are there, 1 and 2. So we've been working on that quite a bit this week. A heavy dose of changeup from one of them, and then Georgia is just known for the big swing, the power offense, long ball. Like that's their ball game. So I think just keeping them in the park. Too bad they're not in Tiger Park. That always plays a little better for us. But keeping them in the park. Making sure we shut down their power offense and then handle their left-handers. That would be the scout in my world. They're similar to us. They're young. It's not a ton of names that you're familiar with, but it's a lot of good softball players.
Can't wait, Coach. Going to be a very exciting weekend. Again, guys, this top 5 LSU softball team continues to kick ass this week on the road to Athens. Best of luck, Coach. We'll be watching on TV, cheering you on, and y'all go kick some ass.
Hey, I got to mention the Teal Walk's coming up here.
Oh, yeah, I'm supposed to set you up for that. I'm an idiot. I'm sorry. Tell us about the Teal Walk.
I can set myself up. I've been doing this long enough with guys, so I can step like that and lead it. So, hey, when we get back, we're playing South Carolina next weekend, and the Teal Walk is next weekend in the Teal game. So you guys know this is really close to my heart with my mom and just all women. But you can sign up at GEAUXTeal.com. It's a little earlier this year, so just trying to throw it out there so it's on people's radar that it's the 29th, Saturday morning at 9:30 at Tiger Park.